Is that clock correct?
No. 6:07. 6:07 now.
It's 6:07 on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021, and I hereby call this regular scheduled meeting of the City Council to order. Please bow your heads and pray. Invocation by Councilman Clark.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening thanking you for all you've done for us. As we start to count down the days to a new year, we want to remember the reason for this season. Help us not to get so wrapped up in this month's activities that we forget that this is a time we need to put you first, as you have done for us. But yet, let us cherish every moment we have with family and friends. Keep us safe from harm and dangers, and we ask for guidance in each decision as we make that affect all current and future residents of our great city. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen. I would ask now for Troop 210 to please come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank
Mayor Debrio,
you. Here.
Councilmember Finley, Councilmember Moran,
Here.
Councilmember Shepherd, Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Marr.
Here.
I am going to move to adjust agenda to add item under action agenda 23A, a motion to authorize city manager to negotiate purchase or donation of drainage lot tax parcel number 067-1-35-047.000 located on Crooked Stick for drainage or green area and to assist with the Turnberry drainage improvements. Can I get a motion to move as amended?
Move.
Wait, one more thing I need to add before I get the motion. Also, I wanted to move off the consent agenda onto the action agenda item number 20, under consent agenda item number 14 to the action agenda. Could I get a motion to move as amended?
I move.
Could I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council will be held on December 21st, 2021 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. City Hall will be closed on Thursday and Friday, December 23rd and 24th, 2021, in observance of Christmas, and Friday, December 31st, in observance of New Year's. Now I'm going to ask Eagle Scout Thomas Conkle to please come to the front. Eagle Scout Thomas Conkle. Whereas the mission of the Boy Scouts is the highest achievement in Boy Scouting program, which was founded over 100 years ago. Excuse me, I messed up my sentence. Okay, is where the mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Oath, Scout, and Law. And whereas the designation of the Eagle Scout is the highest achievement in the Boy Scouting program, which was founded over 100 years ago, and only 4% of Boy Scouts are granted this distinguished award. And Eagle Scout Thomas Conkle, Troop 210, achieved the rank of Eagle Scout on October 28, 2021, and celebrated his Eagle Scout Court of Honor ceremony on November 30th, 2021. And whereas Thomas is a senior at Hancock High School and lives in Diamondhead with his parents, Alan and Catherine Conkle, and whereas Thomas has successfully completed his Eagle Scout project that included building 10 park benches for the dog park and 6 bird houses designed for bluebirds. He received numerous monetary donations that paid for the project, costing $1,300. The project allowed him to give back to his community. Whereas Thomas Conkle serves an example to the youth of our community through his high level of personal achievement, leadership, and community service, and has made Diamondhead very proud. Now, therefore, I, Nancy Deprio, Mayor of the City of Diamondhead, County of Hancock, and State of Mississippi, do hereby proclaim Thomas Conkle as an outstanding citizen and recognize his achievements and extend to him our deepest appreciation for his dedicated work and wish him the best in all his future endeavors. Thank you, Thomas Conkle, and thank you for all you've done for our community. We're very proud of you.
I didn't bring one. I don't bring mine, don't take good pictures. Kathy's brought one. Kathy's got a good camera. I have an old phone.
Ready? 1, 2, and 3. And 3. You got it, Kathy?
Congratulations. Great honor. Thank you for everything you've done for the city.
The troop. Guys, come on over here, guys. The troop. Yeah, just those two.
You don't want your mom and dad? Mom, dad, troop leader? I guess if we all get on this side. You got it on the tree. Yeah, y'all gonna have to squish it and double. Do we need to get?
No, I think you're good. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Zoom in a little bit because I can. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got it.
Away. All right.
As most of you've noticed when you pulled up tonight and everybody out there watching, we finally, and I think we've been working on it since 2014, so hats off to the city manager for moving it forward. Our ADA compliance parking lot is finally starting to move forward, and we're very excited about it. So with that being said, construction underway, asphalt being removed, we're unable to have the Christmas event, but Santa Claus will be coming to town, so we started a new event, maybe a new event, but we're improvising. Santa will be riding in on an antique red, nice convertible. He'll be arriving at Saturday at 1:30. We're going to have a Christmas parade starting here at City Hall. We've got numerous governmental entities involved. Silver Slipper joined in today, so we're excited about it. We'll start here at City Hall, make the complete circle around Diamondhead Drive, and let Santa see all the children. With that, we hope we have some good news coming up with Miss Bobby Kittle. Employee benefit conversation with Hub International, an overview of employee benefits and policy renewals. And I think we all know what we're expecting this year.
I really hope you do.
We do.
It's not as bad as I have seen, though, so I do want to give you that little piece of hope. So we got your renewal from Blue Cross Blue Shield. All of your other policies, your dental, vision, life insurance, you didn't see any increases on any of those. So tonight we're basically going to discuss the medical plan, like it seems to be every year. That's what we discuss. So for the 2022 plan renewal, you guys received a a 14.56% increase on the Blue Cross Blue Shield and Morgan White Gap plan. This is for two reasons. One, we're seeing everything increase right now. With the cost of administration, the cost of minimum wage going up, just the cost of everything is increasing. So we're seeing insurance companies, of course, take in that additional cost. But we're also seeing an increase in claims. Of course, your claims directly affect your premium, just like on any other type of policy. As of October of this year, your loss ratio was 99%. But you're rolling 12, so that's basically from October to October, you were running about 115, 120%, which means the claims that are being paid out by Blue Cross Blue Shield are way above the threshold of what your premium coming in is. That you've got employees who might be sick, who might be dealing with an issue, being a small group. One large claim can cause havoc on a plan. Because you are a small group and you are in what's called the grandmothered category right now, you do have some buffering because you are grouped together with other groups that are in that grandmothered status. So what we did was we went to Blue Cross Blue Shield. We found some options which are in your packet that you received. The options through United Healthcare were not competitive at all. The Humana is no longer writing in the state with groups under 100. Cigna and Aetna fall in that same category. So when we were looking at your plan, the only viable options that we found were with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi. In order to find a policy that would make it worth moving, we're talking major upheaval to your health plan. So right now, your health plan, with your gap plan that you offer, you have two plan options. You have a $1,000 deductible plan and you have a $3,500 deductible plan. Both of those plans have a $2,000 out-of-pocket limit, okay? In order to find some premium dollars to lessen that blow, hang on, I'm on the wrong page. The plans themselves, the deductible would increase substantially. There is an option that you see on there that's got a $7,500 deductible on it. And that will bring your plan down to a 12% increase, okay? That's keeping you in the grandmother's category. If we were to move you to an age-banded policy, we'll see a little bit more savings. However, the caveat to the age-banded plans is, one, you're now 100% ACA compliant. You no longer fall into this grandmother category. What that means is, as a group under 50, you are now falling into age-banded rates. So every employee is going to have a different monthly rate. The administration of that on payroll is burdensome. The other part to that is your out-of-pocket maximums, where right now your out-of-pocket limit is $2,000. Your out-of-pocket maximum on your age-banded plans range anywhere from $6,000 to $8,700, okay? Going into an age-banded policy also means you will never be grandmothered again, okay? And what that means is you will be age-banded going forward, and you will see a change to your plan every year. Blue Cross Blue Shield is a way to keep their ACA compliant plans affordable, or what they deem affordable. They make those changes every year, and what they do is they will change your copays and they will change your out-of-pocket maximum to whatever the federal government says is the maximum allowable. With all of that said, and having the knowledge that you guys the city did make a change a couple of years ago, that was a pretty big change. Between adding the GAP plan 1 year and then having to completely change that GAP plan to kind of help bring that premium down a little bit more. We do recommend to stay where you are now just for this year, and let's see what we can do if it's feasible to try to get those claims down and see what we're looking like this time next year. At that point in time, we'll have a little bit more knowledge. Hopefully the market will be a little bit more steady. But it gives your plan a year to kind of calm down, and let's see if we can make this 14% work this year, and then next year, if we're looking at another large increase, I would then at that time recommend looking into getting out of the ACA plans. Getting out of the grandmothered plans and then moving into the ACA plans. Do you have any questions?
We were expecting a little better, but that's okay, 14.56. So our budget, we had 10%.
We budget basically going into every year at 10%, just
That's
as a
standard.
precaution and to be conservative.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit of just about historically our rate increases and the things we've
Absolutely.
done?
Absolutely. I took over your account in 2014. So I've been with you guys for a long time. And historically, you guys have gotten decreases. From 2014 all the way through 2018, you were steadily getting decreases in your premium. Your claims were running really, really good. Things weren't quite as expensive as they are now. Then in 2019, we saw a pretty hefty increase of the 24.4%. That year is when we introduced the GAP plan and the GAP strategy to you and your employees, where we increased the deductible and then we bought secondary insurance to buy that deductible down. And in doing that, we were able to save a significant amount of premium dollars because we were able to take that 24.4% increase and brought it down to a 7.5%. Then in 2020, we saw those claims shoot up again at 22%. And we did, we pretty much, we added the two top options that you have now. We did some tweaking. We were able to get that down to an 8.8%. And then last year, with COVID, we saw decreases and small increases everywhere because no one was using their insurance. Your voluntary procedures were not being done. People weren't getting their lab work. They weren't going to the doctor unless they absolutely had to go. So we saw a huge decrease in premiums last year, and you guys only received a 0.5% increase last year. So this year we're seeing, again, all of those voluntary and voluntary procedures being tied in. If you're trying to get any kind of outpatient procedure right now, you know that the wait to get in is crazy long because they're basically trying to squeeze 2 years worth of services into a year. So that's one of the big reasons we're seeing these increases.
So what is the difference in just an employee's premium per month for one employee, not employee and spouse or employee and children? What's the difference in the new?
Your Plan A, the total is $669.67, and your renewal is $763.29. That's including your your GAP plan. So we're talking about $100 on Plan A, and then Plan B, it's also about $100. It's a little less than $100 on your Plan B. On the presentation that you have, I did break down who or how many employees are covered under each of the plans, Plan A and Plan B.
Oh, I see.
The premium that the employees pay for that, it's $20 for Plan B per month. So it's $20 per month for Plan B and $40 a month, $80 a month for Plan A. We do recommend charging just a little bit to the employees for the simple fact that if the employee does not pay anything for the plan, they're going to get on the plan whether they have coverage through a spouse or through Medicare or through any other means. By charging just that $20, that kind of gives them the incentive to stay on whatever they're on if they're not covered under the Diamondhead plan. Now, again, I know that might be something you guys want to look at in the future, is paying 100% of that premium. I don't know if you want to do that this year. It may be something that we can look at in maybe next year and see what we can do as far as playing with that GAP plan and the premiums.
So your recommendation is to stay where we are?
Yes, ma'am. Just to keep just keep status quo. Everyone is seeing changes everywhere. It's
Right.
one less thing the employees need to worry about, and to make a change to the plan would mean a big financial burden for the employees if they were to have a catastrophic event.
Well, the deductible seemed unreachable.
Correct.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that for anybody.
No,
No.
and we're seeing it more and more. So unfortunately, that's kind of where we're living in right now. So your guys have a fantastic plan. Even, I mean, I know we have to tie it with a gap plan, but you guys do have a fantastic plan.
All right, any questions to my left? To my right? Bobby, usually you do a fantastic job for us, and we thank you very much. And I was just messing with you about, we were expecting an increase. I mean, we knew it's with everything else that's going on across the country.
That's it.
I was just going to comment, the overall cost over our budget, because we budgeted 10%, so the difference is
Between
just
the-
about $9,500 to
The
our bottom line.
4.56% added? Okay. All right, that's doable.
Got.
Well, thank you, Bobby.
All right, y'all know how to reach me if y'all have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're moving on to the city manager's report. Mr. Michael Russo.
Thank you. Just a couple of agenda items, some notes for y'all. There's a land donation by Cassano. There's a resolution on the agenda to accept a donation of land from Mike and Peter Cassano for the right-of-way at the end of Noma Drive. This is for the boat launch project. This will be used for the roadway, boat launch, and the parking area for that project. We actually, I think, have the deed of dedication ready to go with that. The Mardi Gras parade, there's a resolution to ask the city of Waveland to borrow their viewing stands for our parade. We've done this the last few years at no cost to the city. There's a land purchase for People's Bank. At the last meeting, the council authorized the administration to make an offer to purchase 48 parcels from People's Bank for $75,000. This offer was accepted by People's Bank after we made it. There's a resolution that provides authorization now for the administration to actually make the land purchase and cut the check. We hope to close on that next Friday, the 17th. The GRPC grant, the city received a $75,000 planning grant from GRPC for our wayfinding project. This is a planning grant from MDOT. I am recommending Orion Planning and Design as the consultant on that project. There is another item on the agenda related to that grant, which is the memorandum of understanding agreement with MDOT for that grant as well. All that's tied to our gateway project, to our master plan, commercial area, comprehensive plan that we've been working on. Bayou Drive kayak launch, as most of y'all know, the second storm, I think it was Tropical Storm Claudette, put the dagger in the floating dock for the Bayou Drive kayak launch. There's a work assignment with Kenichi Engineering to hire him to go help us kind of put that back together. This is only redesigning or the actual kayak launch itself. The main pier was not damaged, the wood structure. And we are looking at an alternative compared to having a flat or floating launch to having more of a sloped area that it would go underwater as the tide rises, so it would not be damaged in the future, hopefully. There's a work assignment with Covington Engineering. This is a work assignment to survey the ditch and rear property lines on Comey Drive. This is related to the ditch erosion and to see if the ditch is expanding outside the drainage easement in that area. We've taught a brief job, I think Derek has, on that area. Also on the agenda is a cost of living increase for the employees related to their salaries. After the discussion of the council meeting last week, we'll be recommending a 3% living increase for all employees effective January 3, 2022. That's a new pay period on that date. Everyone's experienced, obviously, the drastic increase in cost of living at this time. This is having a major impact on many of our employees. The council had asked us to take a look at this at the last meeting. This increase would cost about $30,000 additional to the bottom line. If the council decides to approve the recommendation, the city would then, administration will then prepare a salary of orders, or order of salaries, I think is the direct term, and any necessary budget amendments to provide to you all at the next meeting. And that's all I have.
Okay, any questions to my left?
Mike, I just have a question. Weren't we going to look at the comparison also to building inspectors in other cities across the coast as to their salaries?
We have actually started engaging all of the cities for all the positions, including health insurance, to see what they're doing. I don't know if Tammy, I know you calling you off guard. She's been the one making these phone calls. Um,
gotten probably about 5, 6 cities out, probably about 10. Not here on this, but now we're also doing all positions. We're kind of starting over.
We want to basically be able to give y'all a spreadsheet on every position in the city where you can see what are the other cities paying for city manager, what are they paying for city clerk, what are they paying for court clerk, and where do we fall on an annual salary and benefits compared to everybody else.
And I'm guessing we still have no applicants for the building inspector.
I've not received one application for building inspector. And I did send out another email this week on a few positions to make sure people are aware that it's open.
Maybe we should do signing bonuses.
I don't believe the city could give a bonus.
I agree with, well, do you have any questions? No? Any questions to Murray?
Short of putting a sign way out front that says City Diamondhead now hiring. That's about the only thing I could think of. You know, that may help pick up traction. People, the average person doesn't pay attention to their emails, nor do they care. But if they see a sign,
Yeah, the email I sent was to my contacts in other cities as well as our engineers, with the hope of maybe one of the inspectors at one of the engineering firms would be looking for something stable and
but
with insurance and everything else. But
we're getting nowhere. We got to get down to the basics.
Mm.
You know, reach out.
I agree. Put it on I-10.
Put it on I-10.
So, and I guess and I'm gonna feed off of what both the comments were saying. You know, before we looked at the increase,
Mhm.
which I think we're all on board with the 3% because we didn't realize the $250 incentive was just given twice it's $500 raises is what we were given, and by the time you take taxes out and everything else, it was probably $200 for the year, which some people, well, for anybody, that's not very conducive, and it's not very, it's not promoting. Yes, I'm trying to find a nice word. It's not an incentive to make somebody want to stay here. So normally people work for governmental entities, they work for cities because they have PERS. I mean, it's just the bottom line in the state of Mississippi. That is why they work. And they know they're not going to get paid what you could go pay at a private company. You're not going to get paid the same because you have PERS. And we all have to look at this because we're not bringing anybody to the table when we advertise for jobs. And we have a very good work environment here. So it has to be something, and that's what we wanted to look at collectively. Okay, the city, the building official, and we're hurting so bad for the building official. We're just like hurting so bad, and we're catching it all. So we're not doing right for our residents, not having that position filled. We're falling short. We've got to get it filled. So please, at the next meeting, let's see what they offer. You know, PERS is a benefit. What is that? How much is it? How much is it worth dollar-wise? You know, if we have to do it just for the building department, then by golly, we'll do it. We'll just make a thing for PERS for that. Whatever we have to do to get somebody in here that's ready to take off running and watch permits and drainage, we got to get control of it. You know, we started the meeting out with 30 minutes of talking about it, and it's every day in my life. I don't know about the rest of y'all. So we have to move forward with, can we have that in 2 weeks, the next meeting, so we can do, and we may even need to do a PowerPoint. You know, let's seriously, do we need a workshop?
I mean, we can do whatever y'all want to do on it. I mean, our goal, again, we had done it once before to prepare y'all a spreadsheet basically in format showing the highest salary, the lowest salary by position, and highlighting Diamondhead to see where we fall amongst the entire Gulf Coast.
And
So if
add
we
the
want to do it
benefits.
just for the building inspector, we can do it just for one position, or we can do it for the whole city.
I
mean,
think we need to
we're
look.
requesting it from the other cities. It's just
No, I
takes a
think
little
that's a
time for them to
brilliant
give it to
idea
us.
because we just lost a very valuable employee that was everybody in the city liked. I mean, she was doing a good job, and we can't compete with other cities. So we need to be competitive.
Yeah, we'll, just for the record, I mean, this council has given raises every year that I've been here, including 1 year we gave an across-the-board percentage raise and $1 an hour for everybody under 30,000. So that's $2,080 on top of their percentage raise. So we have made some efforts over the last 4 years.
Yeah, you've brought it up in 4 years from, it was way, way down. So,
Council, question about the PERS, you might know. Does it have to be by department, or does it have to be individual?
We've talked about that before, and PERS won't answer a hypothetical question. So we're gonna, when we decide, and when you all decide, hey, this is what we want to do, if you want to break it down by department and offer PERS to one department and not another, we'll have to put in an application to PERS and see what they think of it.
For example, like if several of our individuals that work for us, employees, decided they didn't want to do it, but we have an open position, we would go ahead and apply PERS to that open position.
To just a position, I'm not sure.
I don't know if that's possible, but let's say somebody retires and then we have a position, and then when they retire, then we're able to apply it, and then we just go on and so forth and we move forward. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I don't know either. I've not really ever heard that as being an option. Typically what we've heard is if you offer it to one, you need to offer it to all. But the breakdown by departments is something that we've we've had some indicators from PERS that might be something that they will consider, but again, they will not consider hypotheticals. We would have to go with a full-fledged application and say we want to offer PERS to this group or this department, and that's how we want, or
is
the
it
entire
groups
city.
or departments? Because if it's groups, then, because we
I don't wanna-
do have some,
Actually an employer ID, so we'd have to create separate employer IDs.
okay.
Right.
This is
Now,
doable.
is this something?
Okay.
Is this a quarterly deal? Like you can't just jump in the middle of a quarter. Like if we were to do it, we'd have to start January 1.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I think we could apply whenever we make that decision that that's the way we want to go. We can submit the application.
If we wanted to do it January 1, we'd have to have a decision by next meeting, per se.
Well, yeah.
But then you'd have to apply and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we'd have to get an application ready, and, I mean, you'd have to give us some lead time on how you want this to look, and we'd have to also know how we're paying for it, and, so it wouldn't be something that we would have a 2-week turnaround on.
Mhm.
But, I mean, if that's the direction y'all want to go, you tell the administration and they start working on it. But
Mayor?
I think we want to look at with the employer ID, like the city clerk was saying, because not every city employee in City Hall wants to be in PERS. I mean, we've got some that do not. So I think if we tailor it to fit the needs of Diamondhead specifically, then we can make it work and make it where everybody, where we have X, X, and X in PERS, but some don't want to be in PERS, which is fine.
I don't
Did
think
you want to add something, City Clerk?
Well, all I was gonna say is there is an instance that, we're familiar with where one entire section of an employer was covered under PERS and the other side was eliminated. So these people were paid under ID this and these people were paid under ID this. Now, in the building department, you have some people who are already retired. If you were to put it in the building department, that individual would have to go under PERS.
So we can do it where we don't do it by the building department.
This is how we do it this time.
You'll have employee ID A and employee IDs B, employer A ID.
Okay, we can have two employers, we can have covered PERS, non-PERS, but if say building department, if you put the building department under PERS, every individual in the building
Yep.
department will have to be PERS.
So we're doing it by employer ID.
Yes.
Okay, that's doable. That's doable because we don't want to,
They have
if,
allowed it.
if they will allow us, yeah.
But there were some unique
we're unique.
circumstances in that other.
We are
We're-
unique.
We're
Just
very
to-
unique. We're
With
very
that,
unique.
we have one person in that department already retired on PERS. He would either have to go back on PERS or leave.
So not if we do
Immediately.
it under employer ID.
Yes, even, yeah.
You can't, if you do building department under PERS, every single person in that building department has to be PERS.
I'm not saying do it under building department. We
I
backed
think-
that up
I
20
think the
minutes
employer
ago.
ID the employer ID is a
Departments
much
under
better
ID.
option.
Yeah.
So like,
Sorry.
we have looked at it previously,
Mhm.
General city services is a second employer ID. So everybody in those two categories have an ID, the same ID, and these people were PERS, these people were not. But you can't say, okay, so five in the fire, five in the
Right.
Emergency services didn't want to do PERS, so we're gonna push them over here. It doesn't work that way.
It
It's still-
doesn't, but
It's
a-
still gonna be by
Okay,
department.
so,
And departments being
question.
I've ran a few districts, departments can be classified differently. We could have one that's called the building department, we can have one that's called something like the code department, and one called something else. That don't fall under the building department. We can make our own departments.
Reclassification.
Yeah, it is, it's reclassification.
So,
So that's where we want to head.
do we all have employer IDs already or no?
Yeah, we have one employer ID. The city of Diamondhead is one employer in the state. And everybody's everybody's the same. If we were to look at this, we would have two city Diamondhead employers.
Let me just ask something. If you have different employer IDs, wouldn't that affect the health insurance benefits also? And
Yes.
so that you wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
use the same policy for this employer as that employer?
Yes, we don't, see, there's a lot of unknowns.
Well, we need to figure it out. We've been talking about it, I think, since
Is this something that we can-
2014.
Is this something that we can do, and by the next meeting have a complete
No.
report of how it would operate?
No. We- there-
You'd have, the commission after the PERS would have to meet and consider an application. First, an application has to be authorized and completed by the administration. So that's one step. But before that, we would have to come up with policies and procedures. And I guess,
And a way to pay for it.
departments and how it's going to be, because we have to present a full plan to PERS.
Right.
Mayor DePrio, in order to get the ball rolling, do we need to make a motion to come up with a plan?
I,
Is
I,
something-
I think if we wait till the next meeting and see where we are with the pay, the benefits, and then we can look at it conclusively.
Okay.
That's where we need to start, and then we can move from there.
Okay.
All right.
So I guess we would ask the city manager to come up with some.
Yeah, I'm good.
Groundwork.
Again, just kind of commenting, the feedback we've gotten thus far in salaries, we're competitive.
Or above,
In some positions, we're extremely competitive.
yes.
I mean,
The top or like they're under, yeah.
I just don't want y'all to think we're sitting here paying the cheapest on the coast.
Oh,
No,
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 and
no,
we're
it's
not,
not
but we're
that.
thinking about all the
net-
others have PERS,
It doesn't-
and that's a
I understand.
big factor.
It's not that, it's just our net has giant holes in it, and all the applicants keep falling through regardless. And we have to close these holes, and the only way to close it is possibility is PERS.
For some of you who, and we do have a retirement. It is called Mississippi Deferred Compensation. You pay 8% match, up to 8% match for any employee that chooses. It's not required. So if they want to put in $25 a pay period, you pay $25 a pay period to match it.
So we match dollar for dollar, up to 8% of salary,
So it's
with day one
there if
vesting.
they want.
No, and that's a
Fantastic
good thing. It's still not
retirement.
PERS. I'm
That is true,
sorry.
too.
It's not. That 13th check don't roll around. So, there's a lot to look at. All right, well, we know where we're headed, so the next meeting, we know what we need. Okay, good deal. Any other questions for the city manager? Oh, I had one. I received 3 phone calls about the patch on Diamondhead Drive North and Onally where the water sewer. Y'all received as many as me? What is, who patched that? There is a hill in the road now, a speed bump. And I've been wanting speed bumps, but not like that.
No, I know there was a water leaker in that area. If you leave Diamondhead, or you're actually coming this way from Lily Pond, there was obviously, after they dig it up, they drop limestone in it and they let it sit for a while to pack. It gets hard before asphalt's put on it. I've driven over it once, but haven't really.
There's asphalt on it.
Okay, I hadn't seen the asphalt yet.
We have a situation. So who did that?
I couldn't tell you.
Can we get it removed and repaired by
I'll go take a
whoever
look
did
at
it?
Well, we'll take a look at it. I'm just not. I drove over it when there was rocks the other day. I mean,
Oh, no, it's got asphalt or concrete. It was difficult for me to see because it was dark outside. So it's been patched and repaired, and we can only assume by water sewer district. So maybe can we reach out to them? And I guess on that, and I had this resident ask me this, and this goes to the city attorney, if the patch wasn't done well and their car's hurt, who's at fault there? We didn't do it.
I mean, I'm not gonna speculate without having all the information at this point, so, I just don't know. But I mean, it's a city street, but the water and sewer district, I don't know who did the patch, I don't know what it looks like, so, I'm not gonna give, an opinion without having any facts at this point.
All right, well, we need to work harder on that, and I know we're in a mood tonight, working hard. But we really do, because we just paved Banyan Place, and now there's a big old patch, asphalt's taken out for a water valve. So Alki Way is tore up, supposedly the contractor did something, the contractor claims they paid the district. We've got to, and here's something else we got to work on, who's going to repair the roads when the water sewer removes the asphalt? And that's something we need to get an answer on and work harder on, because the new asphalt roads get cut up, and then we shouldn't be paying tax dollars to go back and redo them if it's water sewer. All right, now that we've complained enough, anything else to the left?
Well, I think not just water and sewer, but if a builder tears up the roads, they should be responsible too. And I think we should have something on the books that says, who's to finally certify it as done right.
I'm with you. Let's
Well,
do
and
it.
those entities that dig up the road for whatever reason, they're responsible, obviously, for the cost of the repair. Moving forward, I know Mike in the past has worked with water and sewer. He's, when he's aware, if it's something that they're planning, we have someone, in the city that's doing road paving, they try to coordinate. So I know in the past we've tried to coordinate, and that's something that we just need to do. But it's not on the city's dime that we're paying to repair these things when they are dug up.
So
Does that
Alki
include
Way isn't
builders?
going to be the city?
Alki, who's doing the work on
Alki
Alki?
Way was a builder going in to clear a lot, dropped heavy equipment after an enormous amount of rain. Basically, the road started pumping and cracking, probably about 100-foot section, easy the size of this wall. And then with that, it also cracked a water line as well underneath it. So go back to the builder dropped their heavy equipment on one of our roads that was in bad condition to begin with, but it was pumping because of just so saturated.
And sometimes you can have a water leak under a road and not know about it for a month. You could have it, and then all of a sudden there's a big hole and you drive over it. We got to work harder on who's paying what and get the streets repaired, because we've got new roads being tore up, and I'm getting questioned about it. So I'm with Councilman Marr. We need something where we sign off on the repairs. If anybody does repairs that we're responsible for within the city, we should be out there signing off. All right, moving right along. Any other questions or comments? Any public comments?
Yes.
A non-agenda, okay. Could I get a motion to approve the November 10th, 2021 recess minute meetings?
I move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. All in favor? Aye. Could I get a motion to approve the November 16th, 2021 regularly scheduled meeting minutes?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Marr. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Moran. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2021-386, motion to adopt Resolution 2021-077, thereby acquiring a quitclaim deed donation, certain real property located within the city for Michael Cassano and Peter Cassano III, and for other related matters. Could I get any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? City Clerk? Oh, who made a motion? Sorry. Motion made by Councilman Clark, second.
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. City Clerk.
Maureen,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2021-386, motion to adopt Resolution 2021-078, requesting from the City of Waveland the use of the view of the grandstand for the 2022 Crew of Diamondhead Parade. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Moran. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. Any discussion to my left? To my right? City Clerk.
Maureen,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Resolution 2021-390, motion to adopt Resolution 2021-079, thereby abandoning a 5-foot drainage utility easement on each side of a common property line between lots 14 and 15, Diamondhead Phase 2, Unit 10, Block 19. The physical address is 2529 Kiko Street. Parcel numbers are 067-N235-133.00 and 067-234-133.00. Brownell property. Could I get a motion? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Moran. Any discussion to my left?
They're just combining lots.
That's correct. Any discussion to my right? City Clerk?
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 2021-3954, a motion to adopt Resolution 2021-081, authorizing the purchase of lots from the People's Bank and other related matters. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Moran. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Moore. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? City Clerk?
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 2021-395, motion to adopt Resolution 2021-080, thereby designating Michael Russo, City Manager, as applicant agent and Jeannie Klein, City Clerk, as alternate applicant agent for the FEMA Federal Declaration DR 4626 Hurricane Ida.
So moved.
Got to get a motion? Motion made by Councilman Mark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. Any discussion to my left? Discussion to my right? City Clerk?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Consent agenda items 8 through 13, 15 through 23. Could I get a motion to approve?
I move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. All in favor? Aye. Could I get a motion to approve action agenda item 23A, a motion to authorize the city manager to negotiate the purchase or donation of drainage lot tax parcel number 067N-1-35-047.000 located on Crooked Stick Street for drainage/green area and to assist with the Turnberry drainage improvements. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Moran. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. Any discussion to my left?
Yeah, where does this fit in with the retention pond, the 26-acre one?
This actually is, and we've been discussing this, this is the property located on Crooked Stick that has a drainage ditch located currently on it now, which we've got water coming from the golf course, going under Crooked Stick and going through this lot out to the 25 acres that we're purchasing. So this lot is pretty much a drainage lot. It is, so.
Okay.
Any other questions to my left? Right? I had one question to feed. Where are we with the purchase of the 25 acres?
I met with Ben with Covington this week. In their kind of survey and modeling, we're trying to figure out, because Purcell had asked to try to have a 50-foot buffer from the residential lots that they would retain compared to buying the whole 25 acres. We would buy 23 acres to make sure those residents who were told whenever they purchased their houses that they would have this buffer or permanent green space. So Purcell had asked for an extra, basically 50 feet. For most of the parcels, it doesn't impact what we're trying to do, and we can achieve that. There are a couple that it would not be, the capacity would not be there.
I'm not in favor, if we can't buy it all, buying any of it, because let me tell you what that'll do. We've got 11 homes that I sent you the addresses on. I showed you the rear. You and I have walked it. The rear of those yards, people can't use. They can't use like the rear 40 feet of their yard. It's totally underwater. It's soft. You know, Covington Engineers has already discussed putting in a ditch behind the homes. We all met out there. The 50-foot buffer would stop us from being able to do that. And also it's landlocked, and it's putting between the city and the resident. The green space that
The
we're...
intention would be for them to obviously try to transfer that property to the residential homeowner to have a larger lot. The wetlands also, that delineation that I was given for sale shows wetlands in these, most of the residents on Crooked Stick, their rear backyards. Again, when this wetlands delineation was done, I'm not sure, but a lot of that is already considered wet. But they wanted to be able to give it to the, transfer it to the property owner to have an additional 50 feet. So
They're gonna
our
they're
property
gonna
would butt up.
transfer it for free and put it in their title.
I can't say they would do it for free.
Yeah, no. If we
But-
can't get the whole 25 acres, I mean, that defeats
Mm-hmm.
the whole purpose of this detention area. This was gonna be a green area the city was doing, where we're getting the whole 25 acres.
Mm-hmm.
From that, and Mike, with drainage, even if that's wetlands there are ways that we can work on and engineering wise to pull the water. So we've got drainage coming from Crooked Stick. There's a serious elevation from the golf course going down to Crooked Stick to these homes that are just getting inundated with water.
I'm just
We've
telling
got to
you,
be able to catch that and get it out to our detention pond, and we can't do it if we're going to be crossing over.
Right.
We don't even know.
We may
if
need to use an eminent domain on the whole 25 acres.
Well,
We gotta be
city
prepared for
attorney,
that.
get busy, because we need to,
So.
I mean, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I would have to see what the plans are, because I don't know what the difference between a 25 acre and a 23 acre would be, so I don't have that knowledge.
Well, imagine a rear yard a lot line with the owner of a property, 25 feet owned by Purcell, and then the city's property. We'd have a void between being able to help the residents and getting to the detention area.
Again, Purcell had communicated that they would try to transfer that or sell it for a nominal rate, whatever it would be, to those residents to give them that buffer, to give them that 50 feet. That was the conversation we had. So Covington was trying to figure out, all right, with the modeling, where's the water go? Does it provide this extra? And for the most part, it does on these residents. So there could be that capacity. But
Yeah, that messes up
I'm
his
just telling you what
modeling.
Purcell was communicating to me.
So instead of selling it to us, someone's possibly selling it to the
50 feet for each parcel backyard would be transferred,
And we're talking about
or at
how
least
many
maybe offered
parcels?
to.
Yeah.
How
That was
many-
what,
Would that be about 10 parcels or
Oh,
something?
no.
it's probably like 20 or
I
25.
think 30.
Houses
Oh, I thought
And there's
only
about 3 or
two
4
that would have that problem with.
that it
We've
couldn't
got
be done.
11 that can't use their backyard
Mm-hmm.
on Crooked Stick. And these are the ones that we specifically need to, I just voiced my opinion. I'm not gonna vote
Yeah.
to take less than 25, so you know where I stand. You have any comment? Okay, so.
No, I mean, I've already had a meeting, said the same things to Purcell.
Oh, did you?
It was-
Okay,
and
well,
said-
thank you, Mike.
And Ben, I got a compliment,
Mhm.
and Andrew's back here, from Covington, said the same thing. I mean,
Okay, well,
but-
thank you, Covington.
they said we would at least give it consideration to look at it, and that's what they're doing.
All right, okay.
I just
So,
can't tell you if it's gonna be a friendly purchase or we need to go a different route.
all right, well, with that being said, and specifically the lot we're talking about, the 067-1-35. Crooked
I'm assuming it's
Stick,
the one you and I've talked about before.
many times.
Okay.
That's the one that we,
Just a thought,
And like I told you, I mean,
Could-
my last conversation with that owner was, it was under contract. I will pursue it again and see if that has
and
changed.
if it is, it can be under contract with the city or donated, or the new
I-
owner can meet with the city attorney.
I asked for a donation as well as a cash purchase.
could we allow them to have that 50-foot, but make that 50-foot also a city easement?
Yes,
And wouldn't that solve the problem if it was an easement that we had, even though they owned it?
It complicates it tremendously. I mean, I don't know why you want to break up a 25 acre. I mean, what would be what would be the reason to break up the 25 acres to have it where the 11 residents that we need to get to, we can't
Why wouldn't we if we had an easement?
be able to get to them?
Yeah, so
It-
the
that-
easement
that-
you could
okay,
drive
now-
if it's 50 feet.
And you're taking 2 acres off the calculations that we're already fighting to get.
Well, that's why I'd like to see the engineering,
Mhm.
because he did have alternatives besides the 25 acre.
I think with the engineer's recommendation, the city manager of not doing the 50, I'm on board with not doing the
Again,
50.
the engineers are modeling it and trying to show with the model in a heavy rain event, 100-year plus, if it fills up, and detains water, is there still a gap between these properties and this water?
We're
of where
not
it could
paying them to
position?
model it,
So-
taking the 50 feet off, are we?
Yes, I mean, that's part of what they're doing. They're looking at it.
Yeah, we shouldn't, that's a lot of money. You know how much it is to model? Okay. Did we vote on this?
For the lot.
No?
No.
I have a motion and a second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Number 14. Number 14, 2021-388, motion to approve the selection of Orion Planning to serve as a consultant for the GRPC MDOT grant for wayfinding navigation implementation master plan. Could I get a motion? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second? A second? Okay, I'll move, well, anybody want to make a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Moore. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right?
No, I have a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not understanding for Orion's going to be the one that's gonna handle the grant, spearhead?
No, Ryan would be the one to design the entire wayfinding, navigation, and implementation master plan. They would be the contractor that would actually draw the different signs that we would have around the city, directing people where to go. So if you go to downtown Gulfport, you see wayfinding. If you go to most resort communities, you see wayfinding. How to get to Rouse's.
Okay.
Any other
But
discussion
it'll
to
be
my left?
detailed to the point of this sign would go in this location, it would look like this, at an estimated cost of that.
But they won't
Then
be the actual
implementation.
sign makers, they'll just
They
be
would
the
not make
ones
the
saying,
signs,
this is
no.
what we need here.
No, it's creating the master plan for it, which would correlate with our gateway as well, project that they're doing.
Gotcha.
But we got the $75,000 grant from GRPC that we applied for this.
Okay, any discussion to my left? Any other? To my right? And my discussion on this, and the reason I pulled it off, is we were supposed to have a presentation tonight on our path around Diamondhead, which was gonna be our complete circle around Diamondhead, our multi-mobile path that we were gonna make for walking, biking, and wayfinding is a part of it, because we want signage to show the mile markers. Did they call and say why we didn't get it? Did they send an update?
No, I mean, we met obviously with a phone call with me, you in that meeting, Derek?
Mm-hmm.
Regarding that with Bert about a week or so ago. He was trying to finish that project for us, and I'm just waiting for it. We are very close to having it. I mean, I've got emails from him
It was 2
today.
weeks ago, and he said,
Yeah.
I'll have something, and we'll have a presentation on the agenda. And here's my thing. We've got engineers hired all over the place. We've got 2 of them sitting here. We've got them hired and it's taken us a year and a half to get stuff done. So are they overloaded? So I was just taking it off the consent to put on here are we overloaded? Are we gonna get, we don't
Well, you've
wanna
got
keep
different
feeding
people.
people
Yeah.
projects and we can't get the product, so.
So we fed him this project this summer. So it's been about 6 months to do a 7-mile protected bike trail, detailed down to basically construction plans, things that can be implemented. This is Bert, the civil engineer, that's doing that. The wayfinding is the landscape architects and the designers that would be doing those sign pieces. So it's 2 different skill sets, 2 different people actually doing the work. But,
And that has,
But
because you're
he's
talking to
done this
somebody
on,
that
you know,
spent
it's
her
been
whole
about 6
life in an
months.
engineering
Yeah.
firm. You're not talking to somebody that doesn't know that. You're talking to somebody that knows if we don't start pushing them to get the projects done, it's taken them a year. We just had one that was 1 year to the month that it took to get out. So I don't want to keep giving them to people if they're overloaded. I know we have 6 firms. So do you feel they're not overloaded?
No, I think it correlates back to our comprehensive plan and the gateway project that they're doing for landscaping and lighting and the signage. I think they're all related.
Okay, but are they overloaded? Are they able to get it out? Because even though it's all correlated and related, if you can't get it out, then it's pointless. It's pointless to us.
No,
We
I
feel they can
comfortable
get
with
the
it.
work out, we can help them and encourage them. Okay, that's all I needed to hear. All in favor? Aye. Moving on to claims payable. Motion to approve the docket of claims DKT 159079, DKT 159127, and DKT 159129, DKT 159142 in the amount of $398,474.64. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Moran. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. All in favor? Aye. Motion to approve docket of claims DKT 159143 in the amount of $77,800. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Moran. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor? Aye. Public comments. We have a non-agenda public comment, and whoever that may be can walk to the podium. Mr. Larry? Yes. You might. Is the green light on?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's always hot.
This is just for reference purposes.
Okay. Thank you.
No yawning.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Larry Matrenga. I own L&F Homes and Development, local home builder here in Diamondhead. We're doing a DBA of Postwood Homes. I'm 73 years old. I've been a home builder for 45 years, and I've got a story to tell about an incident that took place this year. In April, I was cited for not putting a culvert under a driveway. I had the intent to do so, but when I approached the guy who installs the culverts, he looked at it, did his instruments readings, and he said, it's not going to work. He says, you've got a problem here. I said, well, I need to put it in. They cited me for not putting it in here. I need to put it in. He said, the only way I'll put this in is if I get indemnified by the city of Gulfport, city of Diamondhead, if it does not work. So in the interim, I contacted the civil engineer here locally, Duke Levy, and Duke Levy, if he'll go to the beginning, what I handed out, the beginning is just, the first is the emails that I sent explaining to the culvert installer what was required under the city of Diamondhead requirements. Then the next couple pages, starting with page 4 and page 4A, those are the affidavits that were signed regarding that particular project. Now, what happened is after I was cited, I asked if I could appeal the citation in light of the information that I had received from the engineer and from this professional culvert installer. If you look at page 6, actually it's page 11, this is what he did. This address is it's after page 11. All right, this is the layout that the engineer did. The address to this house is it's 945 Makiki, lot 9 Makiki. And what he was able to determine, he went back in every direction about a quarter mile, and based on the topo of all of the area here, all the drainage was coming down this one storm drain. And the water actually comes one direction, and then when it gets to this main ditch here, it goes into a 15-inch culvert, and it turns around about 170 degrees and goes across the street. So that was what he gave us. Now, I asked the building department if I could appeal the citation to the city council, and they said it's already been appealed and you were rejected. So I went on. I had to go in there and sign a plea to go to court, in municipal court, and I signed it, and the hearing was scheduled. When we got to the hearing, I had my two witnesses there, the engineer and the culvert installer. They were there for about 5 hours while we listened. We were the last thing on the agenda, which it was going to be a trial. I didn't realize that it's a full-blown criminal trial. And so anyway, we got to it and sworn in, and we sat there, and the prosecutor he had a witness, Ron Jones, was his witness, and then it was my turn to put up the defense, and the judge asked who I was, and I said, I'm Larry Matrenga. He said, well, this permit, or the permit was issued to Postwood Homes, and you're the owner, but it was not issued. So he told him to start over. He dismissed the case and told the prosecutor to start over, which they did evidently. And the week of Thanksgiving, we had another hearing. We went through the entire process again. It was another 4 hours or so. My two witnesses who were going to be there said with the Thanksgiving, they're getting ready to leave, and they could not be there. So I said, well, I've already got your affidavits and testimony from the last hearing that didn't happen, so we'll just run with that. Well, we got sworn in. The prosecution called Pat Rich is their only witness, and after they got done, or he got done, then I had to present my defense. And so I had several questions for Pat Rich, but when I went to provide the information that I had in the affidavits, prosecutor objected because the individuals were not there and they would not have an opportunity to cross-examine them. So the judge would not allow me to introduce my entire case. This was Judge Johnson. And so at the end of the discussion, he said, I'm going to take a look at, read the statute, and I'm going to review it and make a decision by December 3rd. He said, as far as your appeal to the actual citation, he said, you probably should have done that in front of the city council. He says, you're in a trial now. He said, you're caught in a rock and a hard place. But he said, I suggest that you talk to the council. And so then I called Miss Jeannie, and I said, I'd like to get on the agenda. And she said that you can't get on the agenda. It's not going to be in time for you. She said, your best bet is just to come down here and talk in open mic after everything is over. Now, in the interim, for whatever reason, she was in touch with the attorney or the prosecutors at the time, and she was told, correct me if I'm wrong, that the first time they said that it's too late for an appeal, and if I'm not mistaken, the second time they said that, well, the hearing he hasn't even ruled, so what's he appealing for? And so, and I'm here before you right now as confused as you probably are, because I thought that an appeal, how do you first of all, we didn't have the first hearing. The second hearing just took place Thanksgiving week, and I was told that's too late to appeal. Well, I think they're talking about from maybe the date of the citation. The other thing that disturbed me about this is that they do have a plea bargain meeting beforehand. I was with the assistant prosecutor, and basically when she called me into her office, she said, okay, we've got, did you do this? Did you not put a culvert under it? I said, no, I didn't. So she said, so you're pleading guilty to not putting a culvert. I said, I'll readily acknowledge I didn't put a culvert in there, but I've got reasons why I didn't. It would cause more harm than it would good. And I think that other people, rather than just say, that it needs to go in there and arbitrarily say it needs to go in there. And as I asked him, I said, the person who signed it, I said, are you an engineer? He said, no. I said, is anybody in planning, or I mean in the utility department? Is engineer? No. Does the city of Diamondhead have an engineer on staff? No. I said, well, this is an affidavit designed by a civil engineer who's saying it isn't going to work. Don't you think he should have some credibility in making that determination? And I told him, it's not a big deal to me. I'll put a culvert under the driveway. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is it's not going to work, and it's going to create a bigger problem than what's there right now. But what offended me is when I sat in that, and I acknowledged everything, and then she said, well, if you don't plea bargain and we go to trial, we're going to ask for a fine of $1,000 a day dating back to the date you pulled your permit, which is about $400 and some thousand. And I said, I think that's kind of an arbitrary decision there that doesn't hold a lot of credibility. But I'm ready. I said, I'm comfortable in my case, and I'm comfortable in going to trial. What I didn't know is that I wouldn't be allowed to admit any of my evidence or any of the testimony or the affidavits or anything else. And that's why I'm here today. I figured, and I haven't heard, I don't know if the prosecutor has heard from Judge Johnson yet as to what his decision was. He said he'd have it out by December 3rd, but I have not heard anything. I suspect that since I basically pleaded guilty to the charge with extenuating circumstances as to why I didn't do it, that my next step will probably be going to circuit court after being my first conviction in my life. So it's something that, as I say, the judge said that it would behoove me to just get in front of the city council and explain the story. He's kind of tied in terms of I'm pleading. I told him I did it. So I'm in violation of the statute, and that's why he wanted to look at the overall view of the statute. I said I'm in violation of the statute because I didn't want to do it. And here's the reason. Go to the last section of pictures here. It'd be lots. Okay. Go to right after. There's an email. Matter of fact, I sent an email to this council regarding this issue back some time ago, which is included in here, as well as the testimony or the affidavit by the engineer and the culvert installer. But if you go to the back, you'll see a survey of the three lots that go along there. And then the next picture, this one here, you'll see. Here's 945 McKeekee. It runs along there. These are pictures from the city that they sent me. The next one is showing, I intentionally left the sod out of that area because if I had to install the culvert, I didn't want to take the sod again. And so that shows that. And it shows the culvert. It drains down this way, and it goes into a drain right there, and then it makes a 15-inch drain, and it makes about a 170-degree turn, goes across the other side of the street, and then goes into a culvert over there. So you've got a rush of water. The amount of water that goes on this side of the house is unbelievable. If you look at the topo map that we do, everything within a quarter mile, it's like the toilet of that street. All the water goes to that one lot right there. Now, the third picture shows, okay, it looks like a little serene ditch that runs down there. Okay. I was out there one day, and this is I don't know if you can hear it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this is what happened. We just happened to be there, and we started to rain. And it wasn't a heavy rain, but it was a steady, straight rain. And then within 3 minutes as the rain started, here's what we saw. Foot wide and 4 feet deep. within 2 minutes of the rain started. We were showing the water coming down this way, and then you could see the water coming down the side of the house. We riprap that whole bank all the way back there because of the amount of water that is through there. And it just doesn't make sense. You know, as a builder, as long as I've done, regulations change, code change every year, regulations change, and the regulations. Regulations change, everything changes.
We're going to have to wrap it up soon.
I'm about done. I'm going to make one statement. I said what doesn't change is common sense. And to me, this was a situation where what they were wanting me to do, just from common sense, did not make any sense whatsoever. And then I got the engineer and the fellow who puts it in are the ones who corroborate, you know, what I felt. If they want me to put in the culvert, I guess I'm here on record to be able to say that when it doesn't work, I've at least got it on record, because it's not going to work. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Matringa. Thank you for showing up and letting us know.
How long ago was that video, by the way?
It was probably, let's see, it was before the first hearing, which would have been in August.
So, okay, and I'm sure, City Attorney Derek Cusick, and I'm not going to ask you to comment on this because I know you were in court, but seeing, you know, I'm glad Mr. Matringa brought it here and we could hear the story of. I think we've all ridden down McKeekee and see the dirt on the street, but this sheds light on where this sheds a lot of light.
It asks for recommendations on what.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. But moving on to the city attorney, is there any reason for executive session?
No, there is not, thankfully.
Okay, this week we did finally receive the AG's opinion that we waited on since, I guess we submitted in June. Was it June or July?
Late June, I think, is when it was officially.
Late June. So the AG's opinion came in, and the opinion was the city had asked if the city could spend public funds on the referendum on the election, and the AG's opinion came in and stated
that we could not. And so you all will recall during that period of time, there were a lot of residents asking why the city was not spending money, and some of you all asked, and you know, Jeannie, and I have to give a lot of credit to Jeannie Klein. In her past life, she had some experience with this, with the school board and bond issues and things like that. So we were pretty adamant that our position was that the city could not spend public funds to promote a non-binding referendum. And the AG's opinion came out and clearly stated that, citing a previous Mississippi Supreme Court case and a previous opinion that they had. And they say the city of Diamondhead may not lawfully expend municipal funds to promote non-binding referenda, citing the case that said, it was the Smith versus Dorsey case that said a county board of supervisors or any other public body may not use public funds to advocate for or against, and this was a question about selling a hospital, but not spend funds to influence the outcome of an election. So that was the decision or the opinion that I gave. That was the decision that you all followed. You always don't follow my advice. I'm not always right either, so sometimes you're right to not follow my advice. But my recommendation would be to get this out to the public because there were so many questions about it. Mm-hmm. Just as a reminder, one of the other questions that was asked of the Attorney General was about the other entities, the water district, the fire district. And as we kind of suspected, they did not specifically address those entities. So I just wanted to make that clear. They say the city cannot. You know, when an entity asks for an AG's opinion, they'll only ask if you're asking about yourself. They're not going to answer questions about another entity. And they're also not going to answer questions about something that was already done. So they're not going to validate or invalidate an action that was already taken. They leave that for others. The Attorney General gives advice. Now, in this case, we know it just takes time, and we knew that, so we had to make
we did.
a gut call and make a tough decision at the time, but we did, and it looks like our recommendation was correct. So I would recommend just get it out to the public, maybe attach it, spread it in the minutes, because we did ask for it. You all did authorize asking for it. It was something that we needed, and we got the answer, so that's what I would do.
But even though they didn't say anything about anybody else, they did give a quote from a case that said any public entity. Just wanted to put that out there.
They did.
So, and there was I'd like to see it e-blasted, and I would like the city clerk to please make sure it's spread upon the December 7th, 2021 minutes. Thank you. And thank you, City Attorney, for putting your strong arm down on that. And we all respect it. We followed. The city didn't spend $1, so thank you very much. All right. Please tell me as well. I want to know how that feels. Is there any other business of the city council? Any other business? No? With that being said, could I get a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Morian. All in favor? Aye. Hope everybody can join us at the parade on Saturday.